we have to be more mindful about when that happens. Every time I see a panel, it's like we invite you to this panel about whatever, sustainability, about roasting, and they invite four men to talk and
And the
one
woman
women
is a
as a
moderator.
moderator. It's like, whoa, no. Like, how can you not see what you are doing?
Map It Forward Business Mastermind groups are back for 2024. And if past mastermind groups are anything to go by, you absolutely want to be a part of this if you're a business owner ready for change. Spots are limited to 10 people per group. And if you own a business in the coffee sector and are looking for support in a nurturing and focused group coaching environment, this could be the thing that helps you through these challenging times in coffee and jumpstarts your planning for 2025. There are 3 mastermind groups, each with a different business focus. I will be your coach, and the first one will be focused on strategic business planning, the second one on business growth, and the third on increasing your sales in coffee, both B2B and B2C. Groups start the week commencing October 7, and prices start at $189 per month for 3 months. You get a discount if you pay all 3 months in advance. Previous participants found these groups life-changing for their business, and all groups come with a 100% money-back guarantee. If you're interested in finding out more or registering, head to mapitforward.coffee/group coaching or check the links in the show notes for details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 4 of what I'm sure you've either decided is one of your favorite series or you've thinking, what are these people talking about? Either way, we're glad that you're here. Camila Khalife, welcome back to this episode of the podcast, where we're going to be talking about the role of women and in the coffee supply chain. So it's complicated, right? Because women are involved in everything. This whole conversation seems to be, we should title the whole series, The Complicated Stuff in Coffee.
It's complicated.
It is complicated. Tell me what's complicated about this.
Great question. It's complicated. I don't think it's very different than how it's complicated for women to grow professionally in any other industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a struggle to be considered for the same opportunities, for the same roles, with the same respect, with the same trust. I feel like it's not different in coffee. I think I'm sure that if you work in beer, in wine, bread, in whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I do think the struggle is similar. So yeah, for me, the challenge or what makes it complicated is to, again, how do we make this a friendlier environment for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Women feel the space to grow, to learn, to ask questions, to make mistakes, to fail. I feel many times we are measured by our success or our capacity to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's equally important to take a look at how tolerant or how much tolerance there is for us to fail.
Okay.
So I think, in coffee and in any professional environment, I feel men have more space to both succeed and to fail, and to be still taken seriously, even if they fail.
Do you find that has changed much you've been in coffee 12 years, right?
Mhm.
Has it changed? Wait, question before you answer. Have you spent all of those 12 years in Ecuador?
I have lived in Ecuador for the whole time, but for my work, mainly pursuing learning opportunities, I travel to
Okay.
other places. I think it's different in every culture, in every region. It doesn't look the same. I don't think the struggles of anyone look the same everywhere. Uh, there are places where I think the issues look different and the challenges look different.
Mm-hmm.
In Latin America, they look one way. In each country in Latin America, they may look different. And I do think it has changed. I have the feeling it has changed. There's still a lot of work to do, but with something very simple, like when I started, many times I was the only woman in a group of men, and now it's not the case. Now I'm not most of the time.
Yeah. Well, and even like, so I've been in the industry about 20 years. The fact that I can have this podcast and people listen to it, that was not the case when this podcast started almost 8 years ago, right? Like even in that time, the industry's changed quite significantly. When I was a barista, I was usually one of the only women working in coffee in the cafes that I worked in. And they were usually very testosterone charged. There was a lot of aggression. There was a lot of bullying. There was a lot of shit talking. And there wasn't room for kind of, I say feminine energy, but it's not that I was bringing feminine energy into it. It was the expectation that if you're coming into this, you're going to match our energy as men. That's the point you're trying to make, right? And then as I got deeper into my career, somewhere around 10 years ago, what I started to hear when I would go for job interviews was cafe owners say things like, there's too much testosterone in this place and we need some women to start balancing it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started noticing that there was a change in the industry, when business owners started to realize that their customers were noticing that the place was just too wild. Like from that perspective. What I'm interested in asking you about is, at origin, do you notice that there's that kind of, I don't know what to call it, like that, those gender roles and that masculine, feminine kind of thing that's going on, which starts off as women not having the space that you're talking about, to then necessitating for the success of the business that there needs to be some kind of a balance and women's voices need to be heard more?
There are definitely very well defined roles in our mindset, in our culture.
Right.
I wonder, many times I wonder what people mean when they feel the need to balance it out.
Okay.
Because when I have had that expressed to me in a form of, we need someone to take note.
Oh.
So you should come to the meeting because I'm sure you're good at note taking because you are a woman. We need someone who organizes the business because we are men. We are disorganized, we
Right.
just are. So we need someone to do that part of the job.
Yeah.
So the way we are looking for women to balance it out is many times also charged with this.
The woman's the one who's going to
role,
come into the work environment. Yeah. 100%. And that was the point of what they were trying to get to. the men are going to behave because there's a woman who's holding them to a new standard, or she's going to keep everybody organized, right? If there's a female barista here, she's going to make everybody much more organized. I don't know if that's still how it is in cafes. It's been a good 7 or 8 years since I've had this business in Elixir. So probably 8 or 9 years actually since I worked in a cafe. But it was definitely for the majority of the time that I was working in cafes that's how it was. And I suspect that it's like that in businesses in other parts of the supply chain as well.
Definitely. I think we have to be more mindful about when that happens. Every time I see a panel, it's like we invite you to this panel about whatever, sustainability, about roasting, and they invite 4 men to talk and
And the
one
woman
woman
is a
as a
moderator.
moderator. It's like, whoa, no, like how can you not see what you are doing? So why do we keep pushing these roles? This week, 3 days ago, I was in a meeting with 4 other men, and they told me that I should be the one organizing the agenda and that I should be the one taking notes. And I was there as a coffee cupper, as an expert in quality. And they all of them didn't have any problem to give me the secretary role,
Can I ask
And
you a question?
I was not okay with it. No,
Okay.
I was not okay with it. And I was like, fuck you. No.
I have
Maybe I am better at it, and I am not doing it.
Do you think that anybody would ask me that question? If I was in a room, do you think anybody would ask me to do that?
Probably they don't know you. But no?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
Is it your accent?
No.
I'm just kidding.
No. This anywhere I go in the world, I don't know why. But they did used to, right?
So you know what I'm talking about.
I absolutely know what you're talking about, right? So I used to be the one who Lee will clean everything up in the cafe and Lee will this and Lee will that. I don't get that disrespect anymore. If we're in a room and there's me and 5 other men, they wouldn't dare assume that I'm their bitch, for lack of a better way to put it, right? And I think it has something to do with the fact that I'm a very boundaried person, and I am not embarrassed about that, and I'm not hiding that. And do you know what I mean?
I agree. Yes, completely. I think that's why I said maybe with someone that doesn't know you. The person who proposed for me to be the one organizing was someone that I met that day.
Right.
The others were, but it's like, really, like, there are still these people who think like that.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know. I do feel I set boundaries, and I do feel I am not like I have a strong character. It's not someone I am not someone who will like yeah, sure,
right,
no problem.
I've just recently been fascinated by that, which is why I bring it up, is because there's there are young women that I mentor, and they'll say, how do I get into a room and make sure that I'm treated with respect? And I'm like, okay, that's a really interesting question. Why are we asking that question? Do you feel that you're not being respected in rooms? And then they'll say to me, we've watched you walk into a room and you don't get disrespected, which is not true. Like I've been disrespected plenty. I get disrespected by women more than I get disrespected by men. And it's not even that the women are disrespecting me. They're usually coming from their own insecurity and that's their shit. It's not my shit. But I'm curious about, because I think we have come such a long way from where we used to be as an industry and women in general. My mother's generation weren't allowed to have bank accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take everything that we can get as women with regards to the progress that we're making so that the women that come after
bank
us.
accounts.
No. I wish. But what I'm saying is that I wonder if it comes back to agency. I wonder if it comes back to the fact that when I look at women winning, and I have made it very clear on this podcast that I'm not a fan of competitions, but when I see women winning competitions, at the beginning of my career, that was not a possibility. So I think that women in our industry are, across the supply chain, are making strides. It's accelerating. And I think that we're in the last era of, and I may be completely wrong, but I think we're in the last era of men having that say, because, and the reason I say that is because men are tired of it themselves. Men are getting really tired of seeing other men with big mouths and no fucking class having a say over who gets to have the power and the privilege and the opportunities in the room. So I think that we're headed in a direction where we're going to see not only more equality, but I think we're going to see less dysfunction because there are going to be more women in leadership positions.
I really, really hope so. I don't think we are all going at the same pace in the world. Like while we are having this conversation, there are countries where women voices are being banned,
suppressed. Right.
Exactly. So if we think globally, there's a long, long way.
Right.
If we think about the coffee industry, I do feel there are changes many times, and I hate when this happens. Many times when I talk about the challenges I've gone through for being a woman, and how do you know it was because you were a woman? You just think, I've never watched them say something like that to a man. Like if you just think, like reverse thinking, if I were a man, that would have never happened to me. And then I've had other women from other backgrounds telling me like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never experienced that. All my friends, my male friends are amazing. Yes, mine too. That is not the point. And I go back to what I was saying. The fact that it hasn't happened to us doesn't mean it doesn't happen. That
right.
It doesn't happen at all. When I talk about how many coffee customers, feel very entitled to make decisions on producers' lives, for example. I've had producers saying, well, not the customers I work with, they're not like that. Great. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen somewhere else. And with women, I think we have to be very mindful that while we have come a long way, there are still places and regions and communities and environments where women still struggle and are still silenced and are still silenced in very subtle ways. It's not shut up, don't talk. It's we don't create the environment for you to feel free to speak. And I do think we still have a long way in microaggressions, like things like that, like all the time being silenced by attitudes, by mm, I happens a lot to me when I go to coffee events. I notice immediately how men are filling the room with their anecdotes, with their stories, with their bio, their CDs. They feel very comfortable talking about themselves, their achievements, what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Many times, and I am watching, listening, and I don't feel compelled to speak. Right?
Help.
It's I don't feel the need to equate them, and I don't feel the need to demonstrate.
Mm-hmm.
I feel silent. It's weird. It's a weird feeling. I am, as you may have noticed 4 episodes later, I am not someone who keeps quiet.
And I think that that's a wonderful thing. And what I think you're saying is that you're probably in the wrong rooms. You're in rooms that don't deserve you.
But those are the rooms that where things are happening, right? Those are
you
the
need
rooms.
to be in more of the rooms that I'm in, lady.
Invite me.
Open invitation.
But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like there's not always the environment. There's not always the setting for women to feel just comfortable.
And I think that we put up with, well, this is all that's available to me, right? I think that when we say that, well, Expo and World of Coffee, these are the only places that we can create the opportunities. There's a reason that, I'm kind of, and a lot of people have said to me after all the shows have happened this year, a lot of people are saying, we might take 2025 off. We might not be going to these shows in 2025 because the not so great for this coffee crisis. People not talking about actual things that need to be fixed. And if you're someone who's listening to this and you can really identify with the fact that you end up being in rooms where there are a lot of men or a lot of people who are vacuuming up the oxygen and you're not getting the opportunity to speak, please consider that you can create your own room.
Yes, that's what I did.
And in the next episode, you're going to tell us about these rooms that you're creating. So folks, join us for the next episode where we're talking about assumptions that people should stop making about coffee producers. So join us for that. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon. And stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward.